We're the biggest restaurant chain globally. You know, we're number one across the world. Now that system is that strong, you can only aspire to be number one. And if you're not there, you're not part of the elite organisation. So you need to have that spearhead who drives that and motivates it and empowers it and unlocks it in others. Otherwise it's not for you. Choose, do you want to be an also-ran the race, or do you want to be number one? Because I know what I want to be. If you think like how I'm going to be thinking,
yes,
we'll get along.
Yes.
If you don't, it's not for you. By trade, I'm a pharmacist. So, you know, very much like yourself, started bread and butter as a pharmacist. During pharmacy, I always thought to myself, you know, I want to be able to equip myself financially. So I then did internships at PwC and EY, two of the big four, where I'd use my summer holidays, you know, getting jobs or getting experience, building my CV. I've never been the type of person to sit around at home. And so that constant edginess drove me to think, right, you know, I've done pharmacy work experience, I need to go and equip myself financially. So did the internships. On the back of those was offered 2 jobs at both PwC and EY. PwC was bigger, and so they offered me a more lucrative starting salary, so I thought, hey, I'll go and join them. But I said, but you know, I still want to be a pharmacist, guys. I still have to qualify as a pharmacist. And they said, that's fine, don't worry, we'll wait for you. So I qualified as a pharmacist with boots, after which I then left pharmacy full time. Still locumed on weekends, but I left pharmacy full time, and I went into the City of London, in London Bridge, working at PwC as strategy consultant. Started my career there, worked my way up to senior consultant, associate director at PwC, where I worked out in the secondment in Chennai. So I led teams across Europe and Asia around healthcare projects, around strategy, and then decided COVID hit, and so, you know, I had a lot of mulling time at home. I thought, well, I've always wanted to go into business. I'm a pharmacist first and foremost, so I've got the people skills, the interpersonal skills, I've led teams. I've now got the financial understanding from PwC, I've led teams across Europe and Asia, I've led bigger teams, I've dealt with clients at C-level. What's the next step? So I think I was 26 at that time, and I thought, I need to do something else. You know, I've been here for 3.5 years, I need to move into another trajectory. And so I applied to McDonald's. Then I became a director at the NHS. I was headhunted because I was looking to expand my leadership experience and magnify the effort across people. So I went from leading a team at the NHS as a director to leading a team of 72 across 4 hospital sites, and all during COVID, which was highly stressful. But there I was given budgetary responsibility of, I think, up to £3 million, rolling out an initiative of reusable gowns and drapes across 4 hospital sites in the NHS. Again, super complex around the supply chain, tapping into cultural change with people and dealing with consultants who had been there for donkeys of years. And the NHS, which is just systemically a very slow moving organisation. So, you know, coming in with all this dynamism and, you know, different ways of thinking, that was stressful. I then, you know, thought, right, I've always wanted to go into business. I've got the leadership elements, I've got the people centricity, and I've worked as a pharmacist and still have my qualification to date. I now want to go into the world of business. I applied to McDonald's, and after 1.5 years of training, relocating from London to Birmingham, and then Birmingham to Nottingham, I became the youngest franchisee in England.
Hey.
So yeah, that was cool, that was fun. And amid that, my wife and I moved twice within a year. She got a new job, I got a new role, started my career in business, and we also had our baby as well.
Hey.
So it's been a year of ups and downs, lots of chaos, but we've managed to find some sort of peace within that chaos. So naturally, I've always been an early riser. I wake up at 5 o'clock. I'll get ready, go downstairs, have a black coffee and go straight to the gym. That's generally been my day-to-day frame from the point that I start. I always wake up and do my bed. So I think that I've always had a relentlessness in the pursuit of perfection. and constantly thinking to myself, so I don't believe in New Year's resolutions, for instance.
Right.
I think that everything that I do should be a layer deeper in every sense of my being. So whether it's family, relationships, finance, health, business, work, whatever it is, I don't believe in progressing one thing as a New Year's resolution. I think family has to go further, relationships have to go further, health has to get better, business has to get better, whatever it is. So I believe on more expanding the nucleus rather than, hey, I'm going to focus on health. So I think that relentlessness and the aggression in how I like to tackle my day to day, and it's micro steps. So constantly thinking to myself, right, I've done this, how do I get better? That relentlessness in pursuit and not being happy with how things are is something that I probably attribute that to. So I'd say I'm happy across the journey, but I'm not content with where I am. I think the biggest sacrifice I've probably made, so most recently it's been the relocation away from my family. So I used to live directly opposite mum and dad, who lived at number 19. I lived at number 18. So I joke that I could literally set up an extension cable around there across the road. But I think that the biggest sacrifice that I've had to make is being okay with discomfort, and discomfort to every stage of that word, that phrase, and just having blind faith sometimes that I will step off a cliff, but I will be reassured that the path will raise above me and my feet will land on solid ground. And whatever it is, embracing it. So it could mean a career opportunity that then means I'm now heading up the smallest, or the biggest team that I'd led at PwC was I think 26. Now all of a sudden you're in charge of 72. You had budgetary responsibilities of a couple of grand. Now all of a sudden you're in charge of millions. You were a single, you're at PwC, you're at London Bridge, you then led projects across Europe and Asia, but you very much reported to a director or to a partner within the organisation, and now all of a sudden you're in charge of 4 hospital sites during COVID, responsible for very sick people, deploying this entire initiative by yourself. Go, do it now. And being okay with that mentality and that constant being buffeted by it's something else to do, it's another responsibility. Not praying that things get easier, but just praying that I've got broader shoulders to take it on. So I always say that, whatever it is, I'll roll with the punches and I'll get better. Eventually I'll get better at it. First day I may fail, second day I may fail, but believe you me, by the third day, failure is not going to be in that vocab. There's going to be ways around it. And so I'd say that sacrifice of comfort is something that I've taken forward. So for instance, I don't really follow much sport, bar maybe the mentality of sports. I don't watch TV. I don't really have much in terms of hobbies that are comfort hobbies. Right. I don't go home and switch TV and put my feet up. I'll go home to my family or I'll read, or I'll be obsessive about things that I want to be doing in my own head. And that doesn't stop. It's 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. That's probably why I've burnt all my hair off.
We're in a similar spot, eh?
Yeah. So I'd say that's probably the sacrifice I've had to make. Being okay with not being comfortable. I'd say the biggest challenge is then making sure that every part of what I do I'm present. Because now I've got a family, I've got a little girl that I'm blessed with, and I then lead a business with over 100 employees. We turn over, business in the millions. Making sure that every single part of whatever it is I'm doing, I'm leading, I'm involved in, I'm present. Because I think you can get to a stage of comfort and things start to tick over by themselves, but you constantly have to be at the front foot, you constantly have to be aggressive, there constantly has to be traction, dirt under your feet to be pushing forward.
Yes.
The moment that things start to soften and you think that, I'm top of the hill, I enjoy the view, but now I'm going to be going downhill and I'm going to be coasting, things start to unfurl very, very quickly. And so the higher the climb, the better the view is. And so that keeps me going. because a lot of people don't know this, but I applied to McDonald's when I think I was 24 years old.
What,
to become a franchisee.
Okay.
I was 24. Applied to McDonald's, and I failed. I didn't get through. I was unsuccessful. I didn't even get through to the first stage. And for those who know, it's like a 9-stage process.
9 stage.
Yeah, I didn't even get through to the first stage. Now, it was easy to get distracted and think, oh, you know what, it's not going to happen, it's not for me. But I thought, okay, fine, and they don't give feedback. So I then that forced me to some self-evaluating and to reflect on what is it that, looking outside in, shine a spotlight on yourself, be impartial, but be cynical with every element of this nucleus of what you say that you want to be able to evolve. Is it leadership experience? Is it confidence? Is it security with how you are as a person? Is it what is it? Shine a spotlight on yourself and almost have like a therapy session with yourself. So what's the reason, what's stopping you? Because it damn well can't be self-limiting thoughts. Absolutely can't be that. If it's anything else, fine, I'll tackle that. So it's not going to be self-limiting thoughts. And then I came to the conclusion that a lot of it was due to lack of significant leadership experience. So like I say here, we've got, I lead a team of over 100 staff. I didn't have that level of experience of leadership before when I was a pharmacist, where I led a team of 4. Now 25 times that in 5 years, in terms of the team that I'm now leading, and that will only magnify and get bigger and bigger. But I would say that was probably something that I failed at in the traditional sense of the word. But I sat back, reevaluated, and came back harder and faster and more aggressive.